Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Bachelor, Episode 2. I'm just gonna say this at the start. I wish we didn't have to be here and talk about Victoria. I wish there was, a lot of other things in this episode to discuss, but, so much of it was about Victoria. I am already getting driven crazy by Victoria on this season.
Yeah, usually there's some sort of a villainous type of character on the show, and I'm like, all right, there's someone that's here to cause a little drama, like Noah last season or something like that. And I don't can't stand them or anything. It's just all right, they're causing some problems. Bennett was causing some problems, Ed was causing some problems. But Victoria really is rubbing me the wrong way, to the point that sometimes I'm just man, I would like to just sort of mute this until we're getting to the next part, because I'm really enjoying Matt.
It's one of these things, Bennett at least felt like a character. There were things about Bennett that were interesting. Ed, he went to Chris Harrison's, place. That was funny. Yeah. We'll get into everything else. The one last thing I'll say here is that, is there anything about Victoria that you guys find fun? I want to know that in the comments, because that's my problem.
And she thinks she's fun. That's one of the words that she used for herself. And I was like, fun? Really? Okay.
All right. Well, before we go further, if you guys enjoy this video, just subscribe to the channel. We will be your source for all things Bachelor throughout this season, where hopefully Victoria will be eliminated soon and we can get to other things.
Yes, it would be great if it was soon, but because she is really the only person that is causing any drama, because this is my theory, allegedly, I would think that she is a plant, that she does not actually act like this in real life, or maybe she does, but she feels like she is only there to cause problems. Nobody can be like this, can they?
I did what I always do in these situations. I tried to do some research. So I went to Victoria's Instagram, and because I wanted to see if it was like Bennett's Instagram, where it was sort of similar to she felt just kind of normal on her Instagram. So my takeaway is that maybe Victoria has some bit with her friends where they call her queen here or there, and she must have thought, oh, that's funny, I'm gonna come on the show and say it every other minute.
Yeah, I think she came up with this bit that she's doing, and then she brought it to producers, and she was like, yep, I'm here to fight. I'm gonna do, this is just my opinion, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but that she probably was like, yep, I'm here to, stir it up, cause some drama. Yeah, I'm also here for Matt, but I have no problem fighting with people. And producers were like, all right, cool, come on in, queen. And that's how it went, because I feel like part of the casting is they're looking for people who are good for Matt, that are going to be good fits, that also, Matt would fit with, that they would fit with. And then they have the other group of people, which are people that are there to cause drama, fight with people, personalities that won't get along, stuff like that.
I will say that I think that she was definitely cast for drama. I found it marginally entertaining, the point where she was like, well, I don't want to room with you anymore, Mary Lynn, so I'm going to go sleep on the couch.
That's right. You sleep on the couch like the queen you aren't. It was so weird.
It just gave me really weird Beauty and the Geek flashbacks, because there was a certain person on my season who kept claiming they didn't want to sleep in a bed with anyone else, and they wanted to go sleep on a bear rug that they found at Big Bear, that was better. Yep. It was just, I don't get Victoria. I don't get her thing. I felt bad for Mary Lynn. Mary Lynn's normal.
I also don't get this fight. And I'm not saying, I'm not using the word bully or anything like that, but it feels like Victoria has chosen Mary Lynn because she's pretty quiet, laid back, someone that, even with the big blowout, where there was no blowout, it was just Mary Lynn being like, hey man, if I offended you or I spoke in a way that, made you upset, I'm here to tell you I'm really sorry and I'd really like to move forward and squash it. And Victoria's just like, don't sit next to me. I'm just like, what is happening here? You're clearly here looking for someone to have a fight with. And because Mary Lynn isn't going to really fight back too much, that she's a good person to have this fight with. Because if Victoria really wants Matt, and her sort of idea is, well, I want Mary Lynn to go home and she's someone who's not really going to fight with me, then I can just keep picking these fights until she just self-eliminates and then go on to the next person.
What a real roller coaster for Mary Lynn, because at one point she's like getting an orchid from Matt and she's so like proud that he remembered. By the way, I'm just picturing Matt wandering into like the resort's gift shop and getting, because where else is Matt getting the orchid at this
Production.
point? Exactly. It was just like, oh, that Mary Lynn felt so happy. She was so proud. And then you have Victoria.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. So Victoria's gone to Matt to complain about Mary Lynn, and this is where I also start to wonder what is going on with Matt. So I know that he obviously has to be open to what everybody is saying, and he did. He listened to what Victoria had to say. He also went and listened to what Mary Lynn had to say. That's the right thing to do, and he did all the right things. But if I was really Matt, I would be sitting back being like, okay, let me really think about where this is coming from. Mary Lynn is someone who's a bit quieter that I do have an actual connection with.
Yeah.
And then there's Victoria, who's calling herself the queen. I think Matt knows he's not going to end up with her at all. She is not for him. He is not for her. That maybe she is someone who's there to cause the drama. I mean, I'm sure he can see it. That when we get these confessionals where Matt's like, oh, it's she said, I don't know who to sort of side with. It's like, no, Matt, you do know who to side with.
It's time to put on our tinfoil hats, everyone, because this is what's really going on here. This is the question that Matt has to ask himself, because in his head, he knows that Victoria's got like a bare minimum making it to episode 3 territory going on here.
That's right. She is an episode 3 or 4 boot.
Yeah, for sure. So he knows this. So do his feelings for Mary Lynn supersede the fact that he's got to deal with production and Victoria for at least another rose ceremony or two? Because if he knows that Mary Lynn is not the one for him, just put her out of her misery and send her out right now so she doesn't get dragged through this anymore.
Yeah, which is also something that I'm sure mustache twirling producers are like, we would like this, because then that's going to actually fuel Victoria more to then be like, all right, one done, who's next? And then go after the next person. And she may just pick the wrong person. Like, I think if she hits at someone like Kit or something, it's going to be over for Victoria. She's not going to have that.
I just had this picture in my head of Victoria being like Goldberg in wrestling. Back when I watched wrestling, whenever he would defeat someone, he would always yell like, who's next in the ring?
That's right.
That is going to be Victoria. By the way, in the inevitable SNL spoof that they're doing about this, if Cecily Strong is not Victoria and she's not playing her almost exactly like the girl from the party sketch, I will be distraught in ways I cannot describe.
Yep.
It is the same character.
Can we also talk about the fact that Matt pulled up to this party in a Porsche and Tayshia had to drive around in a wooden car that she had to walk around with her feet and carry?
Listen, they figured out how to handle the pandemic better in this season. That's at least what I'm hoping, and it's not, we didn't give the Bachelorette any money, so we could give the Bachelor all the money.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what happened, that they're like, okay, we're going to give Matt all the money, or if it's just, it was sort of a weird time, trial run with what was going on with Tayshia, but come on.
Yeah, let's just cycle through things for a minute here, where on the Bachelorette, we had, here Tayshia eat a bagel, and then our first date has, like, action and ATVs and like a romantic dinner
and a plane ride, and of course the first date fireworks that everybody gets. Yeah, and Tayshia's got, here's a bagel and have some ice cream, and you know, it's just, come on. Let's
talk about some people we actually do like now, because I think the first date with Brie and Matt was really, really good. Like, I think Brie is a contender. Like, she seems very likable. She seems to really have a great chemistry with Matt. Like, they actually legitimately click.
Brie's really lovely. I really like her quite a bit.
Yeah, she's very normal, and I'm always surprised when there's somebody that normal on this show.
But it feels like Matt is also really normal and pretty genuine. Like, after having Peter's season where it just, something felt off that whole season, that's not happening here. So it's nice to see it, to have a lead who just feels pretty genuine and normal, and then see people like Brie who also are just like, yeah, I'm here for you, and I know you're here for me, so cool.
It just felt like the narrative on this date, it felt really natural, and it's a contrast to what we had later on in the tell me all your deepest family secrets or else date between Matt and Sarah.
Well, at least Brie got him to take his shirt off and chop wood, because we need that, right?
Okay.
All the abs fans out there, leave it in the comments, because I'm probably like maybe one of the only women out here that could do without the abs. I'm not here for the abs. I'm here for sort of the whole package of Matt.
Let's just analyze this for a second here, because the idea of I'm chopping wood, let me take my shirt off now, for starters. What if you had like a rogue splinter that like just fires off of the wood and just like hits you in like one of the pecs?
Is that what you think happens?
I've never chopped wood, so
Right?
I'm just saying that it feels impractical, and out of all the things that I can imagine people taking off their shirts for, because big surprise everyone, I'm not someone who is like, oh, let me take my shirt off before I do this.
Shocking.
It just feels like this is not something that happens on a day-to-day basis. It is time to remove the shirt for the wood chopping.
It feels just, I would feel weird if I was on a date with somebody and then, like, say we were going somewhere that someone would be chopping wood and they were just like, just let me take my shirt off on the first date. I mean, I'm a little more, I don't know, no abs on the first date. I don't really need to see it all right away, Leave something for the imagination, Matt.
We get it, Matt. You spent a lot of time in the gym before going on the season. You knew that they were going to do like some shower scenes with you. Of course. We understand. There was almost like no random hot tub like kissing scenes with Peter, I don't think.
There's a little bit, but there was 2 in this one.
Yeah, you had like the one in the first day, and then you had the other one with Sarah, by the way, just completely caught me totally off guard, because they were like sitting down and having this serious conversation, and then just like,
yeah, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'm in my bikini. I was like, wow, that moved to a different place really quickly. And because it was such a really serious conversation that they were having, and that's, totally amazing that Sarah is doing that and that she is helping her dad the way that she is. That is a really big commitment. And when you are that dedicated to your family, that's a commitment that you're happy to make. But then when you're just meeting somebody new to be like, this is what my life is like, I've left my job to be able to do this for my dad, so that's how much of a time commitment this is. Then if you're the person who's coming into it and you're learning it on the first date, this might be like a second or third date type of information. And I know we're on The Bachelor, so you don't get a bunch of dates, so you kind of have to throw it all to the wind and hope for the best. But that's a lot to process for Matt, to then think, oh, it's really cool that she's doing that. And I love someone that's dedicated to her family like that. But how much time then is dedicated to that, where maybe our life together will be, very difficult to have?
The question that I have after watching that date, and I think we talked about this once during TAYSHIA'S part of The Bachelorette as well, is that I know we're only seeing so much on the show, and there may be a lot of context that we're sort of missing out on here, where Matt is getting reads off of her that she's not opening up about everything, and there's something that he may want to sort of get more questions on. But it felt from a viewer standpoint like Matt was tipped off by producers that, okay, there's something about her family, we're not going to tell you what it is, but there's something about her family we want you to get her to open up about. So
for sure,
it just felt frustrating to me, because it didn't feel natural. It felt like and I'm not saying that Matt pushed her, but it felt like she was sort of in a position where it was constantly being put on her that this was an environment for her to open up. And it felt I just felt awkward at times watching the two of them.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer, because when they were in the plane together, I was like, oh, there's some really serious chemistry here, some very sweetness with the two of them both kind of being like a little bit like, in the plane
Yeah.
together. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I really like this, the chemistry and the back and forth and just the sweetness of it. And then this dinner came around where it did feel like there was a little bit of producer push to be like, okay, you got to get her to open up about this big thing, where it is something she could have talked about a little bit later in the season.
I wonder if this is the right venue for Sarah. And I mean that mostly in that she talked about being a particularly private person, which, you know, I understand. I think we both understand. You know, we like to have a certain element of privacy in life. But
Yeah.
this is a show that basically hits privacy with a sledgehammer time and time again, and she's talking later on in the episode about how she doesn't sure if she can handle the Victoria of it all, and then at the end of it she just gets overwhelmed and she seems to have some sort of medical issue that the medics come over and check her out on.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, we're very private. I'm a very private person, and that environment would do the same thing to me. I would end up having some sort of a panic attack, anxiety attack, especially with a personality like Victoria in there. I don't, I'm not that great at opening up. If you guys have watched the channel, you guys already sort of know this about us. We like to keep it on the TV and less about ourselves. But if you do want to know more about us, you can follow us over on our Instagram, which is Matt and Jess TV, where we share a little bit more. It's not a lot more. We are pretty private, but I mean, I'm not sure that it's the right environment for her too. She may have been at a situation where she was just like, I want to change that about myself. That's something that for me going into the new year, I want to change about myself too, to sort of open up a little bit more. But there's a difference between I'm going to open up a little bit more and then I'm just going to throw myself into the deep end and hope for the best.
The Bachelor is the deepest of the deep ends.
Yeah, being on TV in general is a deepest of the deep ends. If you have to be on a reality show, they're filming everything. And if they can find something to cause a little drama or, pull apart a little bit of sort of what makes you feel safe, they will.
Let's talk a little bit about this group date, because I have a little bit of a hot take on this. I don't actually know if it's a hot take, but...
Okay, this group date was really interesting to me, the way that it was set up, because obviously it was set up that it was like this bride thing. Everyone was going to take pictures with Matt. And so normally, this is my theory, and I feel like it's right.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't actually set up these dates. The producers set up all these dates. It's never really been confirmed, but it's confirmed. That is what is happening. Matt doesn't have the budget. He's not sitting in a meeting room being like, oh, okay, I have this much money, then let's go on a plane for this one. Let's do this. Like, I don't think that that's what's happening. Also, they're telling a story. So they, they're putting the dates together. So typically I would think that the Bachelor would know what the date is coming up, that Chris or the producer would probably meet up with him earlier and be like, hey, okay, so today's going to be, this group date where we're going to have a bunch of brides and take some pictures. And then later we're going to do this capture the flag thing. All right, cool. It felt like this time Chris said specifically that Matt didn't know that this was coming up, that he thought it was just this, taking the pictures, and that they kept it away from him, that then there was going to be this capture the flag. Because when he came in and was like, all right, Matt doesn't know what this next part is, I'm like, if they take all these women and like make them mud wrestle or pillow fight like they've done in the past, I'm going to be really like pissed off.
I kind of liked the capture the flag.
Capture the flag was fun. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be terrible. Like, I legitimately thought this was going to be in the persuasion of, okay, pillow fight, some of those other things that we've seen where, either the dudes get really ridiculous and aggro, or they make the women do these really just frustrating things.
That's right, the Sexist challenge.
Yeah, it is the Sexist challenge that we get. It doesn't matter if the men get one, the women get one.
Yes.
And it's,
where the men are like fighting each other and then the women are having pillow fights.
Yeah, it's
nonsense.
Yet, this was kind of enjoyable. It
was fun.
I liked that they still had to all wear these dresses. That they I love that they had these big hearts that they were carrying around.
I thought it was great. I really liked it. And it seemed like everybody was having fun, which is what I like seeing on sort of the group dates. Not the ones where it's like, oh, you guys all need to strip down and play dodgeball. Okay, well, that just makes it kind of awkward. This looked like legit fun.
Okay, so thumbs up or thumbs down on Chris Harrison bringing out of the coffin of this franchise the guard and protect your heart comment from Allie season a long time ago. Do we need to bring up Casey and the tattoo?
I don't know about that.
See, Chris is really diving into the OG.
Right?
Actually, I guess it's not even that OG, but it feels like it was forever ago.
It feels like it's been a while.
And, his commentary was pretty funny. Probably one of the better moments from Chris Harrison on the show in a little while. I like this group date. If the rest of the group dates are kind of in this persuasion, I'm probably going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Except for Victoria and her whole royal wedding, queen dress thing that was going on there.
I'm really over Victoria. And obviously everyone there is too, because we had this scene at the beginning where she was complaining to somebody about it, and clearly it's a producer because they're wearing a mask and no other contestants are. And she's like, those other women, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nobody wants to listen to you that you have to talk to the producer, and she's paid to listen to you. It was just like, take a hint.
Also, Victoria, did you not know what you were signing up for? The idea of The Bachelor is not Victoria gets to hang out with Matt James all day and all night. You're actually supposed to get along with the other women so that they don't spend their time trashing you or making you upset. You don't have to be the most sociable person in the world. Just smile, be cordial, deal with it. It's not that big a deal, is what I'm saying.
Or if you don't want to hang out with the other women, that's okay. But you don't have to go and antagonize them either. You can make a choice to just kind of be there, spend your time kind of on your own. If you don't want to socialize with them, cool. But you don't then have to go over and pick fights. Like, you can pick one or the other. That's why she's a plant. She was brought in because she was like, oh yeah, I'll fight with people, no problem. Hook me up. Give me the spot. Send me in, coach.
Mari won the most valuable bride, which I'm not sure actually mattered at all.
No.
Like, Lauren got the group date rose, and it felt like, okay, now we're going to immediately forget about her for the rest of the episode. It's like, any person other than Victoria on this group date just got, like, sucked into a vortex, and we have never seen heard from them since.
Yeah, and it was interesting, too, because, I mean, Lauren got some good screen time, and it was good to get to know her a little bit. I mean, she's really wonderful. She's also very lovely and very beautiful, and it was cool. But then it was like, yeah, everything happened with Victoria again. She got some time alone where she opened up, which is where she really was just like, yeah, I really want to share with you, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you. I'm really looking forward to opening up with you. And she didn't actually say really anything except she tried to fish for a compliment, where she was just like, yeah, I'm really insecure. I felt really big in my dress. No, you looked great, which of course he's going to say that, right? Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, of course. I don't understand it. I know she's going to continue. I know we're all going to have to deal with this a little bit longer. I know we said last week that, Victoria's for sure going to be on Paradise. She's going to have the part in...
No, you said that. I don't think so.
I want to live in your world. That's what I'm trying to... At this point, I'm out. I don't need to see her on Paradise. I still think they're going to do it because this is The Bachelor and we don't always get nice things.
I just don't think they're going to, because she doesn't feel real. Like, she doesn't feel real. It just feels like an act. And I don't think they're going to bring that over to Paradise. I mean, maybe I'm going to be wrong and we'll see. And that's fine. If I have to take the L, I will. But, I think a lot of Bachelor Nation is done with Victoria and we don't want to see her again. So if we're moving over to Paradise, there are a lot of other contenders that they can bring over there that will cause drama. And, let's see Kit over there.
The last thing I got to say, Abigail, the little scene with her and Matt and the signal.
I love that.
If you do anything to make Abigail sad or hurt,
Abigail's a little treasure. I really like her.
I'm going to be so mad if this doesn't work out later on this season. And, there's so many women that just buy, odds, I'm pretty worried that it's not. I'm just going to be disappointed. That's all I'm trying to say.
We will see Abigail in paradise then. She is someone that if she doesn't, either we're going to see her as the Bachelorette or we're going to see her in paradise. I feel like she's someone, everybody's behind her. We all really like her. There's nothing not to like about her. And seeing her find love would be something I think we can all kind of get behind.
We need that at this point in the world. But for now, what did you guys think about this episode? Are you done with the Queen Victoria experience? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, subscribe, give us a like, and support us further by checking those links to the store, our Patreon in the description. And we will see you here next time.